Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum Pakistan. You are watching 94 News Channel and I'm your host Ahmed Mahmood. Today our guest is Dr. Steffen from Germany, Country Director HSF Pakistan Chapter. Dr. Steffen, very welcome to Pakistan and city of Bahavalpur.
Thank you very much.
Please tell me what's your qualification?
My academic qualification,
yes.
I assume. I'm a PhD, a doctor in philosophy. So I've written a dissertation in philosophy, in the field of philosophy, in history of philosophy.
What is your PhD thesis in topic?
I analyzed David Hume, a Scottish philosopher of the 18th century, and I tried to show what his empiricist philosophy means for traditional metaphysical claims.
Okay, what is HSF?
HSF stands for Hans Seidel Foundation, and it is one of the German political foundations working in Pakistan. At the moment there are 3 German political foundations working in Pakistan, and HSF is actually the oldest German political foundation active in Pakistan, because we started working here in 1983. And we are also one of the oldest partners of the Parliament of Pakistan.
Okay.
With both chambers, the Senate and the National Assembly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What are the objectives of HSF to launch in Pakistan?
You see, the objective of HSF worldwide are to promote peace, development and democracy. And specifically in Pakistan, we work in 3 focus areas. And the first one is constitutional structures. It's like good governance related. The second one is non-traditional security challenges. These are challenges in terms of security that are of non-military origin, such as climate change or migration or water management. And last but not least, our focus area is regional dialogue. And we focus on the dialogue between countries in South Asia and the dialogue between South Asia as a region and Europe, and specifically Germany, of course.
Okay, how HSF working in Pakistan?
HSF works in Pakistan mostly through, it goes like that. The German federal parliament gives money, public money, taxpayers' money to us.
Yes.
And even though, we are independent of the German government because we're an independent entity, however, we are financed through the German government. Our job is to use this money, which we receive, in Pakistan according to project goals, which we define each 3 years. And as I just said, the project goals right now are related to constitutional structures, then regional dialogue and non-traditional security challenges. In practical terms, that means that we organize, for instance, we support conferences, such as the conference today at the University of Bahavalpur.
Okay.
And we support our partners who are already working in a field which is of interest to HSF to do an even better job, to have greater impact. And so we support our partners with conferences, with workshops. We support the Parliament of Pakistan with trainings for politicians, for instance, or trainings of the secretariat staff.
Okay.
And we also offer scholarships to Pakistani students. Either if they want to study in Germany, we can finance that, or we have certain scholarships related to research areas. Okay. Again, areas which are according to the focus areas, which I just described.
Okay. Yeah. How you find this country? How you find this country?
I like Pakistan a lot. I find Pakistan very welcoming, and I really like the people here. The hospitality and the openness and the warmth of the population here. So I like Pakistan a lot.
Pakistan about culture, how you feel?
Pakistan and
culture.
Its culture?
Yes.
You see, culture is a very vague term. and it's hard to define that. So in my opinion, culture describes everything which is not nature. So nature is something that is naturally given to us, and culture is what we humans make of it. So I think the Pakistani culture is very, very diverse. It has, because culture, according to my definition, covers things like music, food, it colors clothes, for instance, the way people speak, the way they use their body when they speak, all these things are culture. And I think to my own surprise, I found out that Pakistan has it's a very, very diverse country. And in the Western world, when we hear the term, the name Pakistan as a country's name, we think about a society which is homogeneous, but we don't think about diversity. And actually, Pakistan is a very diverse place.
Okay, Dr. Steffen, what is federalism? What are its advantages?
Well, you know, there are different definitions of federalism, and,
yes.
and I think a minimal one, a simple one, would be that it is a political system according to which there is a separation of power between a general national level of government. In Pakistan, that would be the federal level, and subnational levels of government. In Pakistan, that equals the provincial government or the local government. And that is, I think that is in a nutshell what federalism is about. It depends now on the culture of a certain country, what kind of shade this separation of power between the different levels has, and also how much power is separated between the different levels.
Okay, how we improve research culture in Pakistan and your country? Research culture.
How do we improve the research culture in
Yes.
Pakistan? In my opinion, the most important, because I worked in research myself,
Yes.
you know, for my PhD.
Yes.
In my opinion, the most important requirement for successful research is asking the right questions. I think if we really want people to do good research, we need to teach them to be brave enough to use their minds and to ask critical questions. I think this is the foundation of all research. Asking critical questions does not mean that you need to ask questions against somebody, right? But you need to be able to, you need to question, you know, why is it the way it is, you know, and why is it not differently, you know, or why do we do it the way we do it? What's the benefit of doing it the way we do it? And I think if you are able to ask these questions and then find answers to that, I think that is where good research comes from. Good research does not mean that you simply repeat what someone else says, obviously. That, in my opinion, because then you would not really contribute to the knowledge, right? You create knowledge by raising questions. And if we want good questions to be raised, we need to teach people that they should be brave enough to use their minds. Not to be arrogant. No, you should not use your mind against other people, you know. You should not do it in a disrespectful way, of course. But nevertheless, to work in academia means to use your brain.
Okay, Dr. Steffen, what is the contributions of your organization?
Our contributions to worldwide?
Yes.
You see, we, as I just said, HSF works to support peace, mostly through dialogue. We try to achieve development, but not like the technical side of development. It's more like a development in terms of capacity building. So we want to teach people how they are able to later to be empowered and how they can help themselves, so that our support becomes a sustainable one. And so we are working for peace, development, and of course democracy. And as we just discussed, democracy requires education of the people who vote, and it requires a certain self-confidence of the people who vote. And they need to be informed about the political processes. They need to know their own constitution. They need to know what their rights are as being part of a political system, but also they need to know what their duties are. And I think that all requires a transfer of knowledge. We want to contribute here.
How you feel come to in Bahavalpur, the Islamic University of Bahavalpur? How you feel come?
You see, I've been to Bahavalpur 1 week ago.
Okay.
And I visited Bahavalpur as a tourist, and I was very impressed. I went by car through all of Punjab, and I started in Islamabad, and I ended in Karachi. So I went through all of Punjab, and then through all of Sindh. And I must say, Bahavalpur is probably one of the most beautiful towns I have seen in this whole trip, and that's because of the very, very nice architecture here. No? So you have these old palaces because it's formerly a princely state, and you have these very beautiful old palaces, and I have not visited all of them, but I've seen some of them, and I took many photos, and I liked it a lot. So I think the people of Bahavalpur can be proud to live in such a beautiful place.
If I talk about your personal life, what is your hobbies?
My hobbies. I live in Islamabad, so I'm Islamabad based.
Okay.
And my hobbies would mostly be hiking. On weekends, I go hiking into the Magala Mountains.
Okay.
So they start right behind Islamabad, right? And I think actually the mountains are one of the most impressive and beautiful things Pakistan has to offer.
Okay.
And also I have a cat.
Okay.
A Pindi cat.
Okay.
Yeah, her name is Frida.
Okay.
And I spend a lot of time with my cat. And of course I have friends too. A lot of international friends, but also Pakistani friends.
Okay.
And we often meet together, we have dinner together, we go on trips together, we drive to Lahore together, or we cook together, things like that.
When you are in your country, what is your daily routine?
When I'm in Germany.
When you are in Germany, what is your daily routine?
What is my daily routine in Germany?
Yeah.
You see, that depends the daily routine in Germany depends on what kind of function you have, what your job is.
Okay.
So if you are like a medical doctor, let's say, then you work in shifts, and you have night shifts and day shifts, and you have quite a long shift, and you're usually stressed out in the evening because you had a very hard day, and then you usually spend some time with your family, and you try to relax. Some people watch TV.
Okay.
And so it's a very organized and structured life in Germany, but it depends on what your profession is and what you do. If you are like if you're a student, you have much more liberties.
Okay.
You know? But also naturally students have less responsibility. So if you don't have to care for a family, and you just go to university in the morning and in the afternoon, then in the evening you usually go out with friends, right? This would be.
You like poetry?
I like poetry, why not? Yeah.
What's your favorite poem?
My favorite poem?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, that's difficult. That's difficult.
What's your favorite writer?
My favorite writer?
Yes.
That depends on... my favorite writer is, in terms of style, in terms of language, I say in the German language, Friedrich Nietzsche is just the most talented. He's a philosopher, yeah.
Good.
And a very controversial personality. And but the way he plays with words, and he uses them, and he plays with different meanings of words. That is absolutely impressive, and he has influenced all of the intellectual history of Germany after him. So, but in terms of a logical style, that I would say I like the Bertrand Russell.
Okay.
Who was a British philosopher. He was a mathematician actually, and even though he's a mathematician and is very logical in his approach, he received the literary Nobel Prize.
You like reading? You like reading books?
I like reading books. Yes.
That's good. Okay. Any message to Bahavalpur?
Yeah, my message to Bahavalpur is you are living in a very beautiful town.
Thank you.
It's very green, and at the same time, in terms of architecture, very inspiring. and even romantic, I would say. It reminds me a lot of in Italian architecture, and I think you call it Mughal Gothic. Something you have a special term for the kind of architectural style you have here, and I think that's unique in Pakistan. You should be proud of it, and you should invite more people to come and visit and enjoy this beauty.
How you look our Bahavalpuri people, how you feel, and meet Bahavalpuri people.
Yeah.
What you say?
You see, I have not met many Bahavalpuris yet, unfortunately, because I'm here since since one day. But the few I met, they're very kind and warm and welcoming. Yeah. I also met a friend of mine. He works with the police here, and he welcomed us last week, and he showed great hospitality. He took us to the market to do my friend needed to do some shopping for his sister, and he took us to a restaurant, and I was very impressed how kind and warm-hearted he is.
Thank you very much for your precious time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. जी तो नाज़रीन, आपने आज की शख्सियत प्रोग्राम सुना। इसी के साथ अपने मेज़बान अहमद महमूद को इजाज़त दीजिए। अल्लाह हाफ़िज़। अल्लाह निगहबान। पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद।